Bob, you're coming in the back door. Page 7, Bob.
I make so much money, I put on a black hood and I'm a body condom.
Hugh Ashley.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
Take a Studley soap star.
When I was on General Hospital, kind of throwing their bras and underwear and stuff at me. Now I got mothers coming up saying, "Can you sign my kid's diaper?"
Mix in two wise guys.
My act was always like PG-13.
Uncle Jesse and Joey are gay, all right?
Watch how much funnier this is when John and I got to this second time.
Tony, smile! You're on! You're on!
Add a sassy kid and a tween.
Ooh, this sounds juicy.
And throw in a pair of Rugrats. What do you get? Pandemonium.
3 straight guys raising 3 girls in San Francisco. Yeah, that's plausible.
The reviews were initially merciless. They were terrible.
But Full House brought down the house and turned into a major hit.
Whether you admitted it or not, you loved seeing those little girls. You got it, dude.
You got it, dude. Whoa, baby. You're in big trouble, mister.
Between takes, not exactly a happy family.
John and Bob really didn't get along at first.
We make it really good, like we really care.
My weight, that was always a constant issue.
I just wanted to do more acting. Even to this day, it's been a double-edged sword for me.
We were concerned about the fact that the girls were being overworked. We were concerned about the fact that they weren't getting kid time.
We go back to the days when these guys were still cutting their teeth in television. These two moguls were still wearing diapers. And guess what happened when the girls grew up? This is the inside story on television's Full House. The E! True Hollywood story.
But Daddy, I'm the princess, and nobody would do what I told them.
Sounds like you were trying to be the boss.
Can we sweeten this?
In September 1987, ABC launched a new show that turned the family sitcom on its head and became a runaway ratings winner.
Full House was definitely representative of the fact that, men were suddenly being taken semi-seriously in the equation of parenthood. That used to just be mom entirely knows best, even though we had a show called Father Knows Best. Father always knew least on television, as we often knew. So yeah, this was kind of part of the changing thing.
11 family-oriented series aired that year, including Family Ties and Growing Pains, but none of them boasted 3 dads and 3 daughters.
It was a very sweet idea at the time, and it obviously was on the pulse of what people were thinking, And it's a funny circumstance.
Here we go.
I'm hopelessly devoted to you.
My joke is 3 straight guys raising 3 girls in San Francisco. Yeah, that's plausible.
The premise of Full House was simple. Sports announcer Danny Tanner lost his wife in a car accident and suddenly finds himself in charge of raising their 3 small girls. The widower enlists Jesse Katsopoulos, his rock musician brother-in-law, and Joey Gladstone, his stand-up comic buddy, to help with the Mr. Mom duties.
In the beginning, we didn't know if it's 3 guys raising 3 girls or if it's, this weird kind of dysfunctional family.
I wanted to do a show about a bunch of guys living together, and I made up a show called House of Comics. And I got the word before I went into pitch that ABC was looking for a family show.
The beginning of Full House was a combination of ideas. One idea was 3 Men and a Baby, which was a popular movie at the time, and there was also an idea about 3 stand-up comics living together. And somehow those ideas came together and it became 3 Men and 3 Babies.
The network loved it, and I wrote the script in maybe 5 or 6 weeks, turned it in, and they said, okay, go make it.
Casting for Full House began in early 1987. Creator Jeff Franklin wanted to kick off with a big name. Franklin tapped 24-year-old soap stud John Stamos to play Uncle Jesse.
I know Jeff Franklin, the producer, was interested in me, and we went to lunch one day and talked about the show, and we mainly just talked about girls, and he said, okay, I want to hire you.
He was good eye candy for the show. He would draw the elusive young female crowd.
And waving like this.
For the role of Buddy Joey Gladstone, producers decided to go for someone with youth appeal.
Dave Coulier came in, and we had seen probably 30, 40 actors at that time, and he just came in and he was the character. He was this big, goofy kid who could do cartoon impressions and somebody that kids would love.
I wish I was directing this myself. Action.
I got home and there was a call from my manager and he said, "You got this pilot, Full House." And I thought, that's the easiest thing I've ever done.
10-year-old Candace Cameron was the sister of Growing Pains star Kirk Cameron. Candace quickly nailed the role of oldest daughter, DJ. 5-year-old Jodie Sweetin won the part of middle child, Stephanie. But casting baby Michelle turned out to be much more challenging.
You get only a certain amount of filming time that you can put a baby under hot lights. And basically, you needed to have a second baby to bring in to continue shooting.
There were initially 10 sets of twins that were brought into the office. It was chaos. There were all these little babies crawling around the office. It was kind of like 10 little Indians. Like, okay, they're crying over here, let's take them out. And they're throwing up over in this corner, let's move them out.
2 9-month-old cuties named Olsen stood out from the crowd.
They were such calm, natural, happy babies with smiles on their faces and these great big eyes.
One by one by one by one, you know, they all disappeared. And pretty soon it was just Mary-Kate and Ashley.
5 rolls down, 1 to go. Full House still needed Big Daddy.
It was really the character of the father, Danny Tanner, that became a challenge for us. There were 2 names on the top of my list. Paul Reiser, who decided to do the other show about single dads raising kids. It was called My Two Dads. And Bob Saget.
Jeff Franklin was a producer that wrote and thought of me originally for the part of Danny Tanner, but I wasn't available at the time.
So we read every guy in town, and we just couldn't find the right guy. And we ended up casting John Posey, an actor who had come in literally the day before we were going to start shooting.
Full House thing, I think, was probably the first thing that I sat down and read for, so it happened quickly. I thought, well, that was easy. You're in, you're there, you have a show, you know, there you go.
Posey shot the Full House pilot in the spring of 1987.
I worked hard, and it wasn't hard because the kids were so great, Candace and Jodie. Very bright. I think the first thing Jodie said, she looked up to me and said, "You know, I just memorized this entire script." And she couldn't have been more than 5. So I spent a lot of time with them, and I think we were all very comfortable with each other.
But not for long.
And then Bob Saget became available. So Jeff Franklin wanted Bob.
It was a horrible couple days where I had to wrestle with this, and I just really had an instinct that Bob Saget was the right guy for this part. And so I asked the studio and the network if they would allow me to recast the role, and they said okay, and it cost about $500,000 to reshoot the pilot with Bob in it.
We went back, John and I did a screen test with Bob. They sent it to ABC. ABC said, "We like it." They fired John Posey, which was terrible.
I remember I thought, okay, this is comfortable. I will drive back to, or fly back to Atlanta, and where I had stored all my personal things and furniture, and drive it out here. And it was while I was driving it back out here that I got a call from the agent that said, "I need to let you know that you've been replaced on the show." And then there was truly a feeling of sort of quite empty. Not anger, not anything. It's just like complete, and I've heard people say that before, like you have no emotion whatsoever.
Despite the Saget casting coup, hopes weren't high. Full House was hardly a slam dunk.
We didn't think that was going to hit. I didn't, you know, you don't know. I was so excited to have a job.
Most of the writers looked at it as, oh, this is a sweet, sappy show. We'll probably last a season or 2, and that'll be it.
They were in for a big surprise.
Soon, everybody embraced these characters, and we had something for everybody. The girls loved DJ and Stephanie growing up, and the boys thought Joey was so funny and so cool, and the moms liked Stamos because he was handsome and dashing, and there was kind of a, even young boys liked Michelle. Everybody liked Michelle. Grandmothers liked Michelle. Whether you admitted it or not, you loved seeing those little girls. You got it, dude.
Coming up, Double Double.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
And later,
First it started out, young girls kind of throwing their bras and underwear and stuff at me. Now I got, mothers coming up saying, can you sign my kid's diaper?
in September 1987, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen made their debut on Full House in the same role. The twins took turns appearing as Danny Tanner's youngest daughter, Michelle.
I'm an idiot. Come on. Okay.
All right, good.
All right,
settle down here. There we go.
Are you gonna cook Michelle?
We're changing her diaper.
Oh, then how do you roast a turkey?
Steph, Joey and I are busy. Joey, stripper. All right, careful there. You're in control. All right, slide it off and... Good thinking, Joey. Keep it fresh.
One of the most interesting things about the show is that the Olsen twins, were 9 months old when it started. And they were called, Mary-Kate Ashley Olsen. So people thought it was actually one person.
Okay, hold her up. I'll clean her off.
Good idea. Come on, Michelle. All right. You're missing. You're missing. You're missing. All right, come on. Gently now. Gently now. Gently. There we go. This is great. We should be mothers.
Oh, yeah.
When they were old enough to speak, the twins did their best to set the record straight.
We're fraternal. That means that we're not exactly alike, but we are still twins. Once you get to know us, it seems that we're different. Ashley has a little freckle, and I don't.
They are definitely their own person, and they always have been since they were little. If you say to one of them, oh, Mary-Kate, and it was Ashley, she'd be like, I'm Ashley. And they were always very different people.
Showbiz was the last thing Dave and Jarni Olsen had in mind for their kids.
It was just a fluke. Jarni was with a girlfriend of hers, and it was her girlfriend that was visiting an agent for her daughter. It had come up that we had twins, and the agent said, we need twins, for shows at times, so how about sending some photographs?
Full House was the one and only interview they ever went on. They were hired to do the pilot, and the rest is history. But it was never the intention of the mother or the father, for that matter, to do television.
The fluke turned into cash for the Olsen family. During season 1, the twins were each paid $2,400 an episode. But money didn't guarantee model behavior.
When we started Full House, Ashley did not want to do it. The whole first 2/3, I believe, of season number 1, every time I tried to take Ashley in for a scene, she would cry. So Ashley always stayed in the dressing room, and Mary-Kate did every scene on Full House for the first part of that first season. And one day, Mrs. Olsen brought the girls in, and Mary-Kate had, both eyes were swollen with some kind of an infection. And it was tape night. And I looked at her, and I looked at Ashley, and I said, Ashley, tonight is your night.
We would alternate scenes by our acting coach would be like, okay, the scene's yours, and they just switch off for different scenes. And then if I had an ice cream scene one day or one show, then I would get it the next time. It always had to be even or fair.
In the beginning, the babies were props. The actors were not excited about doing scenes with the baby. It was hard. It took a long time. They were looking the wrong way. They'd start to cry. They'd have to get a diaper change or whatever. So nobody wanted to do scenes with the baby.
Mary-Kate and Ashley would cry. All the time. You couldn't get a scene done. I said, fire these kids. Get some new kids in here.
However, TV viewers found the girls irresistible.
Something happened. Somebody did a nice hug with the baby, or a nice moment with the baby and the audience went, "Ah."
They were always very sweet children. There's no way to be cynical about them. That's why a lot of kids always call the show the Michelle Show. I want to watch the Michelle Show.
Pretty soon the actors were like, "Hey, I want to do a scene with the baby. Make sure I have a scene. Make sure I go talk to the baby at the end of the show." And then we realized that the baby was the key. The girls, the little twins, were the key.
Season 1 wrapped in 1988. Producers briefly considered replacing the Olsens with older children, a common casting practice on shows featuring infants.
It was very rare to raise babies on television. We bit the bullet and said, well, let's just keep them and let them grow up on television and see what happens.
Still, the twins were almost forced into early retirement.
We had a photo shoot with Annie Leibovitz to do all the photos for publicity for the upcoming year. And at the end of the afternoon, I was driving Mrs. Olsen home with the twins in my car. And she turned to me and said, "You know, I don't think we're going to do this next year." And I said, "Jarni, today's shoot was for all the photos for next year." And she said, "Well, it's way too hard for me. And it's very stressful for me to bring the children to work and remember what days I'm supposed to have them there. And I have other kids at home."
2 more kids to be exact, 1 older brother and 1 younger sister.
It was a big load for her to carry, and we had to we had to figure out how can we make this work, and we brought in drivers and nannies and up their salaries, and we tried successfully to help her out, and I think we made it much easier on her.
Meanwhile, the twin toddlers stole nearly every scene on Full House.
It's got to really be frustrating for actors who consider themselves serious performers trying to apply their craft to be completely outdone by these little kids.
Even though the focus shifted, I don't think there was any focus envy or anything like that. I think we were all in it together, and we all came out of it really happy.
Watching the series makes, they're like little home videos. And it'll take you back to that scene and that moment and that day.
They have something. There's a charisma, there's a twinkle in the eye, there's a chemistry, there's something that is appealing, clearly, to the masses.
By the 3rd season, the Olsen twins were America's darlings.
There's something about watching a baby grow up in front of your eyes. There's something about watching a baby take their first steps. And Mary-Kate and Ashley were learning to walk on that show and learning to talk on that show. And America watched it happen.
Well, it wasn't like when we couldn't read or talk, we would, talk, when we could just say single words. Adria would be on the side going, say, "You got it, dude," and then we'd go, "You got it, dude," and then they'd edit it out in production.
We started coming up with cute little catchphrases. "You got it, dude."
"You got it, dude."
And all kinds of goofy things that the audience would love to hear.
"Whoa, baby."
And then the show just got sweet. It got so sweet. I know the critics hated it, but the audience loved it.
"You're in big trouble, mister."
However, representatives for Mary-Kate and Ashley didn't feel their enormous popularity was reflected in their paychecks.
I was aghast at how low they were being paid. And it took me 6 to 7 months to convince Dave and Jarni that somebody should go in and fix this.
Robert Thorne, who had become their attorney at that time, took them from $4,000 an episode to $25,000 an episode overnight.
"Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming."
By July 1991, the 5-year-olds had their very own Michelle Tanner doll.
Dad, who is this that's sitting at your tea party?
Michelle.
Does Michelle talk?
Yeah.
Well, show me.
You have to push her stomach.
They're in QVC for 12 hours. They sold 20,000 dolls at the price of $29.99 each. So they already are starting to build this fortune.
That September, network execs moved Full House to Tuesday nights at 8. Ratings immediately spiked, sending the 5-year-old sitcom to number 8 in the Nielsen ratings. In 1992, the Olsens starred in their first TV movie. Mary-Kate and Ashley pocketed a cool $125,000 each.
I wrote a script called To Grandmother's House We Go with Boyd Hale, another writer on the show. And this was the first time that Mary-Kate and Ashley had a chance to act with each other, because we always saw how much fun the two of them were together and wanted America to get to see that.
Grandma, here we come. I'm Mike, get set, we're out of here. See you later. Where are you going? Grandma lives this way. No, Grandma lives this way. You'll be sorry. No, you'll be sorry. No, you'll be sorry. Okay, then, John, I'll call you from Grandma's. Wait, Sarah, wait. Wait, Sarah.
We would ride trucks and do our own stunts, and we just had a blast. Got cotton candy, I remember. It was just so much fun.
To Grandmother's House We Go made Mary-Kate and Ashley even more bankable.
It beat 60 Minutes, it beat Murder, She Wrote. I mean, just stunned the networks.
Suddenly, it's a huge hit. And it is the beginning of the Olsen dynasty.
Coming up, No Laughing Matter.
It was always kind of sad to see him like that because he's always making a joke.
When she went into rehab, it was really hard for the girls.
I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, and I was there once, thank you very much, and somebody was there in the cafeteria, and they threw pennies at me, and they called me a Jew, and I collected them, and I bought this jacket.
In the early 1980s, Bob Saget struggled to make it as a stand-up comedian.
I wanted to be a doctor, actually, and I decided to do this instead.
Bob had done the warm-ups for Bosom Buddies back when I was producing that show. That's how I met him. We became friends, and I was just a huge fan.
By 1987, Saget was an up-and-coming comic, and producer Jeff Franklin wanted the 31-year-old to play widowed sportscaster Danny Tanner on his newest sitcom, Full House. But Saget was tied up as co-host of the morning program on CBS.
I'm sitting here with a new young actor who you may not know now, but you can see him in the new Richard Pryor film, Critical Condition. I'm sitting with Bob Saget. Hi.
Save it, okay?
Bob, let me ask you, is this your first film?
No, it's not.
Oh, well, what other movies have you been in?
Just some small parts and some small movies with some small people.
Sorry to backtrack here again, Bob, but isn't it true that you were lucky to get any part in this film at all?
What are you talking about?
And isn't it true, Bob, that you were struggling for many years to get any part in anything, and if this film hadn't come along, you were thinking of going back to being a deli clerk?
How did you know that I was a deli clerk?
In fact, isn't it true that you haven't worked since you shot the film 9 months ago, Bob?
Okay, so I'm full of it, okay?
CBS execs were looking for something different, and Saget's stint was cut short. Franklin made an offer. However, Saget wasn't sure his off-color wit would fit with the wholesome humor of Full House.
My act was always like PG-15. It has not changed that much.
Who is stupid enough to bring 15-year-old kids to a comedy club?
Here I was, this guy who was known to be like the dirtiest guy in the room. Not by choice. I didn't do it for shock value. I just laugh at what I find funny.
Bob in real life is fairly risque, and in order to get away with that kind of material, you have to be extremely likable as well as funny. And that was really what I wanted.
Saget signed on. The Olsens were too young to know the Full House premiere was a clunker, but Saget knew.
The reviews were initially merciless. They were terrible. They hated us, and I think People magazine gave us an F. It was painful to read those reviews. I mean, we were working really hard.
Producers scrambled to fine-tune the scripts.
The second half of the first season, we really sort of hit our stride and tailored the show to both adults and kids at the same time.
Life off-camera wasn't so amusing. Saget felt stymied by his clean-cut role. He also locked horns with co-star John Stamos.
John and Bob really didn't get along at first. In the beginning, they really didn't like each other, so I was constantly in the middle, you know, and I would make jokes like, hey, why don't you two just go get a room somewhere and work it out?
And at first it kind of, it kind of clashed because, we'd be trying to work and these guys would be, Bob would be like making everybody laugh on the set. It was a little irritating because we were trying to get work done. And then I just said, no, I think there's something to learn from this guy,
We've been going at it wild on this set for years.
Wild. It is wild, isn't it?
One of Bob's typical jokes is, I just want to put a shoebox on my lap and give you a puppet show. So I mean, you couldn't do that kind of material in Full House, so it was very frustrating for Bob.
You find yourself laughing and you're just thinking, that is so sick.
The cast gradually loosened up, especially between takes. Even though Saget had kids of his own at home with wife Sherry, the comic's sharp tongue got him into hot water.
Sorry, you didn't mic that, did you?
He would oftentimes forget that there were children in the room, and the parents would speak to me, I would speak to Bob. I told him he had to be punished. He was going to have to go to his room and have a timeout.
What did I say?
Because there were things that slipped out of Bob's mouth, which related to his comedy routine.
Give me a shake, okay?
He was a bad boy. There were times where he would forget where he was, and not using swear words, but making references to certain situations and images that were inappropriate for children.
Look at him, he's Shecky Schmuck the way he talks. He's just some guy goes to Nate Now's and then does 12 minutes. I can't believe how hard I work. That's what he riffs about. I make so much money, I put on a black hood and I'm a body condom.
Always had the Mother Brigade. Every time you saw the three mothers walking, you knew there was trouble. You knew that Saget or Coulier had gone over the edge. That they said dirty words once too often, and the mothers come marching down and take him to task.
Between all three guys, they were always joking around, and sometimes we wouldn't quite get the joke, but we'd still laugh, because everyone else was laughing. But I remember laughing. They were all really nice.
Saget began doing double duty in the middle of season 3, hosting another show for ABC.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Saget.
America's Funniest Home Videos premiered in January 1990. By May, the series hit number 7 in the Nielsen ratings.
What do you think could possibly happen, sir?
I think there's going to be a fatality.
You think like a cat's gonna fly out of her pants or something and hit the wall or something? Let's just finish this sucker up. Mr. Optimist is gonna continue watching.
There was an incredible amount of stress that Bob was under because he was writing the show, he was hosting the show, he was doing the post-production as well. And then on Monday, you start it all up again with a new script on Full House. It's enough to drive you insane.
During Full House, the writers from America's Funniest Videos would come and he'd be watching videos in his room when he wasn't rehearsing and writing the script for that.
We worked round the clock. I would work while I was at Full House. We would watch the tapes. I'd go and do the voices. Oh, look out! Oh, look, I'm Rocky! Just bad voices, wannabe Mel Blanc, badass me. But the show was universally loved. The video show went to #1.
Bob Saget was riding high, but in April 1994, he endured a heart-wrenching blow. Saget's older sister, Gay, died from an autoimmune disease called scleroderma. She was only 47. Bob buried his pain in work.
It was always kind of sad to see him like that because he's always kind of on. He's always making a joke. And like to see him serious, it's kind of like, whoa.
The whole cast, we went to the funeral and everything, and that was the first time that I ever had really seen it affect him. I knew that he was upset about it and things like that, but he did try and cover it up at times so well with being funny and trying to be, positive about it.
When people they seem too fragile for the world, and they cover it up and they mask it with something. And I think that's Bob. I think he feels things so deeply that he masks a lot of that with humor.
Bob wasn't the only cast member who endured private pain. In 1992, Dave Coulier lost his sister Sharon to cervical cancer.
I remember my sister passing away and then having to fly back home after the funeral to do a Full House episode. And so there was this world where there was the real world where I had just lost my sister, and then there was the Full House world where I got to be this imaginary character and just be this bright, funny comedian again. And it was just, it was so surreal, and it was just so strange to be clowning around when, 24 hours earlier, was my sister's funeral. It was a very, very strange, sad time.
For Dave and Bob, laughter helped get them through their ordeals.
For us to cope with all that pain, we'd say, hey, well, you know, Dave and I, Bob and I, we got the Dead Sisters Club going, so anybody want to join? And that was how we dealt with this tragedy.
They were there for each other, and they made each other laugh through, I think, one of the hardest periods of both of their lives.
Bob and Dave have always, had this, this insane sense of humor. When their sisters were dying, they were making jokes about it, every day.
It was like the battle of the dead sister jokes, which just sounds horrible, but it was their way of dealing with it.
But Dave and Bob were friends long before their personal tragedies. The two comics first met in 1979.
I actually saw Bob Saget, who was on a Comedy Store tour, and I met Bob that night.
He seemed really funny and talented, and I'm pretty much a talent whore, so if anybody was really talented, I liked him.
Bob said, make sure you call me when you come to California, and I thought, oh yeah, right. And then I called him, and a couple months later, I moved out there and ended up sleeping on his couch.
In 1987, Art imitated life.
And then I ended up sleeping on the couch on Full House, being his best friend, and it was like, ooh, this is too weird.
On the set of Full House, Dave had fun with his little leading ladies.
Mary-Kate and Ashley weren't even walking yet, and it really brought us together, having to be there 5 days a week for 192 weeks. And it was either really bond together or just totally be away from each other. And thank God we really bonded with each other.
Dave was just like known for, just blasted him. Really bad cat. But it was so cute because all of us would just, oh, Dave, another one. Mary-Kate and Ashley would always be like, ew, Dave made us stinky.
That's what happened. That's actually a ventriloquist thing that I do.
In February 1990, actress Jane Modine joined the cast for a fantasy episode titled, Those Better Not Be the Days.
Are you senile? I've seen the Nile several times. Shut up, on television. I was in Egypt years ago.
You what a stink, because you stink.
Once again, Dave Coulier worked his charm, on screen and off.
Full House did many things for many people, and one of the things it did for Dave Coulier is it brought romance and a marriage into his life. They cast Jane Modine as the sort of grown-up Michelle in an episode which they, look into the future. And they hit it off, and they liked each other.
Coulier and Modine tied the knot in June 1990. Professionally, Dave's life also moved full speed ahead. In September, he began co-hosting another ABC show, America's Funniest People with Tawny Kitaen. There was one catch. The show taped in Orlando, Florida.
So I would finish Full House on a Friday night, get on a plane, and Saturday morning be starting in Orlando on America's Funniest People. So to try and have a personal life when the show and your business life is so overpowering, it is difficult.
Despite the demands of dual TV shows, Dave and Jane welcomed son Luke into the world that November. Their joy was short-lived. A year and a half later, Coulier's marriage ended.
I was so overwhelmed by all of that. There just weren't enough hours in the day to just pay attention. It was very difficult for me to have a personal life.
Coming up, the hunk in the house.
I couldn't wait to go tell my sister that I was on the show with, John Stamos.
Hey, look, wait up. What the hell's going on, man? Mikey told me you're copping out. After all the work we did for you, we sweated bullets for you, pal.
Before he got laughs as Uncle Jesse on Full House, actor John Stamos thrilled young women across the country on the daytime drama General Hospital. As bad boy Blackie Parrish, John received 10,000 fan letters a week.
Hey, what about all this you taught me about sticking to things, huh? You're copping out, pal. You're copping out on your family, you're copping out your friends, and you're copping out on me, all right?
I don't think I got it, man. I just wasn't hip enough. I was kind of a sheltered kid from Orange County. I still had that innocence of like, wow, I remember all of a sudden girls started, to really come around, and that was, I liked that a lot.
Stamos wanted to muscle into prime time. He quit General Hospital after just 2 seasons.
Take care of yourself, kid.
In 1986, John starred opposite Jack Klugman in the series You Again. The show flopped, but Stamos landed a meeting with Full House creator Jeff Franklin.
John Stamos was at the top of the list. John and I went out, we had lunch, we had a great time. We didn't talk about the show at all, just talked about girls that we'd both dated and Elvis, and just had a great time. And at the end he said, yeah, I'll do it. So there wasn't even a reading for that part. It was just John got the part.
I had no idea who was on the show until I showed up at the first table reading. I had no idea. And so I saw that John Stamos was on it, and I was like, it was huge because my sister was the biggest General Hospital fan and loved him as Blackie. So I couldn't wait to go tell my sister that I was on the show with, John Stamos.
Blackie's reputation as a playboy wasn't all soap opera flash.
John Stamos was really a Hollywood player at the time. When he was on General Hospital, he dated Demi Moore. Then he dated Chelsea Noble, who ended up marrying Kirk Cameron. He also dated Paula Abdul. This is a guy who loved the Hollywood scene, loved women, and used his stature and his hunk status to get a lot of these women.
As Uncle Jesse, 24-year-old John shifted gears.
First it started out where it's like, young girls, when I was on General Hospital, kind of throwing their bras and underwear and stuff at me. Now I got, mothers coming up saying, can you sign my kid's diaper? It's switched a little.
If I can't find him, I'm going to have to shave my legs.
God, I hope he finds him.
October 21st, 1988. Enter another soap star, 24-year-old Lori Loughlin.
My first real big acting job was on The Edge of Night. And it was great. I thought it was great training. I was 16 and I worked with really great actors.
Producers hired Lori to play Danny Tanner's co-anchor, Rebecca Donaldson, for 6 episodes. She stayed on Full House for 7 years.
It was exciting to have a woman on the show and not have to do all those kind of sappy scenes with a guy all the time. It's like she kind of took the motherly role on the show with our characters so we could, have those emotional talks with her once in a while, and that was a relief, I'd say.
I think that the show needed some adult female influence, and I think I fit because I wasn't the, biological mother, but all of a sudden I was the female voice.
Eventually, Lori's character became the love interest of Uncle Jesse.
Radio, camera's on, camera's on. We played a married couple on the show. Whenever we had a scene where we had to kiss, his favorite thing to do was to go and eat a bunch of Doritos and take a hit off of a cigar. And he thought that was really funny.
Despite the great chemistry with Loughlin, by 1991, Stamos wanted to break loose from his G-rated image on Full House.
He went to his agent and begged him for the toughest, meanest role he could get.
That October, Stamos starred in the TV movie Captive, playing a psychopathic killer.
It was dark and it was scary, and he did it well. But it was not how audiences really wanted to see him. But it did show audiences, hey, I can be more than Uncle Jesse.
Still, during the 5th season of Full House, John's daddy duties became double trouble.
We brought in new twins for Jesse and Rebecca's twins, who were very hard to deal with. Every time the camera went on, they cried. I don't know why. 5, 4, 3, 2, ah! So they kind of ruined every shot. It was very hard to deal with it.
In November 1994, Stamos took a break from Full House and attended Fashion Week in New York. One evening, the confirmed bachelor met the woman who finally tamed him, 22-year-old model Rebecca Romijn.
Then it was like this magical, silly moment. It was like she was in slow motion or something in one of those dopey commercials with her hair flowing. She'd just come from a show and I said, oh my God, and that was really love at first sight.
John is an entertainer and I am an audience. His biggest goal is to keep me entertained, and I just sit there and laugh my butt off at everything he does and says, and we're like 2 goofy kids.
Or as our housekeeper says, chic-y.
Rebecca is everything he ever wanted. a smart, sassy, edgy woman who's just, you can say anything you want around her and she'll dish it right back.
Personally, John had it all together. Professionally, Stamos couldn't get on track.
You're no fun, Daddy.
Of all the people in the cast, John Stamos felt the most stifled by his role, especially towards the later years. He was ready to break free of Uncle Jesse. He felt creatively stifled. He didn't want to play the same nice, goody-goody role.
I would never disrespect that show and what it did for me and my family and my friends. It was difficult some of the times during that show because I wanted it to be something that it wasn't. Bob will tell you a different story. He'll say, Stamos was miserable down there the whole time. You know, I really wasn't.
Wild. It is wild, isn't it? Wild.
Stamos went through a couple of phases. First, he loved it. He was the hunk. He got a lot of attention. Then he felt, oh, this is not up to my standards. I want to do something serious. But then in the end, he came to really love the show.
Coming up, star trips.
Kids were following Jodie Sweetin into the bathroom with cameras. She came out crying, and we realized they really have to be protected.
And later,
it was clear that that was really the main problem there. You know, she had lost a lot of weight.
Good night, Arthur.
Now, DJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Roger taller, broader, and not named Arthur? It's a long story.
Full House was slow to find an audience when the series premiered in September 1987. Still, the young cast members more than pulled their weight.
The kids were always prepared. I mean, Jodie and Candace always knew their lines, always rehearsed, were totally professional.
Sometimes the kids were more professional than the adults, because the adults were always goofing around.
To land the role of DJ Tanner, Candace Cameron relied on instinct and natural talent.
I didn't have any acting lessons prior to Full House. I started acting when I was 5 and got the show when I was 10, so I'd done a lot of stuff in between, but no formal training.
Candace Cameron read for the part. We saw about 10 or 15 girls before she came in, and she was just wonderful. She was so real and natural and comfortable and funny, and it didn't hurt that Kirk Cameron was her big brother too, so a little extra PR we got out of that, but you know, she was just wonderful, so she got the part right away.
Jodie Sweetin didn't even audition for her part as DJ's younger sister, Stephanie.
I had seen an episode of Valerie and that she had done when she was 4, and she was incredible, and we just basically wrote this role for Jodie. And we didn't see any other kids, so she got the part.
We thought Jodie was going to be the breakout star of the show because she was 4 years old and so precocious and would nail her lines. And we thought, this girl's a genius. She's going to be the star of the show.
It was fun for me. It was a lot of fun for me as a little kid to be growing up around Bob and you know, Dave and John too. All these people were just fun, you know, so I was having a great time. It wasn't work to me, it was just fun.
By 1989, the series took on a life of its own.
NBC was trying to be kind of the cutting-edge young adult network. CBS was for the old people, but ABC was for the families. And that's what TGIF became, the Thank God It's Friday comedy lineup. And Full House helped them establish the whole idea of mom, dad, you can sit down with your kids and watch this show and have nothing to be ashamed of or to apologize for.
I don't think I ever really understood the extent of how big Full House was. I never really realized how many people were watching it.
Now!
Sweetin didn't really realize how famous she was either, until season 6. In 1993, word spread that the 12-year-old star died in a car crash.
The publicists had to fight this rumor for months, although if they just turned on the show, they would have seen that she hadn't been killed. But, you know, this is the kind of stuff that sort of spins out of control.
Where's the camera?
The camera's gonna be there and there.
Okay.
And there.
And there.
Now, Michelle, I want you.
Over the next 2 years, the hype continued to grow.
By the time we went into our 7th season or 8th season and we took the kids to Disney World, we were so mobbed that we had to have security everywhere, and it became almost unbearable. The kids were following Jodie Sweetin into the bathroom with cameras. She came out crying, and we realized they really have to be protected. They became like big, big stars.
Here we go, same thing.
Fame held some other nasty surprises, and Candace Cameron learned a tough lesson in junior high.
I remember that her teacher asked her for autographs in front of the class, and so a lot of the kids resented that, and they gave her a hard time.
I was getting, like, you know, curse words written on my locker, and people would push me all the time and pull my hair all the time, and were just really cruel.
Back on the set, Candace faced even more pressure because of her weight.
I didn't feel like I was big, and I didn't feel like I was so chubby. Yeah, I was a few pounds heavier than I am now, but you know, at 13 or 14 or 15 years old, I just wasn't thinking about that. When you're on camera, when you're on a television show, well, that's a big deal to everyone else. So I had to deal with that problem, and it probably wouldn't have been a problem had I not been on a television show, but you know, that was always a constant issue, was my weight.
Because there's always pressure on a set if you gain weight. People make remarks, cameramen make remarks, directors make remarks. Here's this kid gaining a little weight. Her brother, Kirk Cameron, is on Growing Pains, and Tracy Gold has had a problem with anorexia, so there's all this worry. It's really the beginning of people's awareness of what could happen to a teenage girl and anorexia.
To help Candace stay fit and healthy, her parents hired a personal trainer.
I know it was a concern for everyone because of Tracy Gold and what she was going through, and then here I am, I guess, on the other end, and they don't want what happened to Tracy to happen to me or cause that, so they wanted to be as delicate as possible, and it turned out okay. Groovy, man.
Solid. I'm never wearing socks again.
Viewers watched Candace and Jody turn into teenagers, and producers beefed up scripts to reflect the changes.
We did an episode about drinking. We did an episode about losing weight, and I know, you know, the girls always wanted to be thin.
We did an episode where Michelle's grandfather dies. And, you know, it's a very sensitive thing. How do you teach kids about death? We know the kids are watching. We know we have a responsibility. If you're going to be honest, it's a show about milestones, and that's one of the milestones in life.
Another milestone, dating. In 1992, 16-year-old actor Scott Weinger joined the cast as DJ's love interest.
Steve and DJ were big, you know, our big problem was, you know, where to make out. We didn't have any privacy in a house with 32 people in it.
We could not get it. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and the director was going, please, you know.
Joel Zwick, like the voice of God, was like, what's your problem, Weinger? Make out with her. Give her a good one. And I was embarrassed in front of the whole audience, you know, in saying that. And so I really went for it the next take. And he goes, what's the matter with you, Weinger? You don't have to chew her face off. I love you.
You do? Really?
Yeah. I wanted to say it 100 times, but every time I tried, I kept chickening out. But now that I've said it, I feel like I want to say it again. I love you.
This is incredible.
Well, don't you want to say something to me?
Yes. Thank you.
That's it?
I mean, I love you too.
You know, I've heard after a minute and a half the brain dies without oxygen.
Then, in 1994, Candace met her first real-life boyfriend.
I played in a charity hockey game, and Valery Bure and his brother Pavel Bure, both professional hockey players from Russia, learned how to speak English by watching Full House reruns. And I remember Val and Candace meeting each other, and it was just like that Lady and the Tramp moment where their eyes lock and you wanted to see them suck on the same string of spaghetti.
After 7 seasons, the girls of Full House were growing up.
We talked on the phone for 2 months until I saw him again. So when I got off that airplane to see him, he invited me to, you know, visit. I was like, wow.
Coming up, the Mini Moguls take off.
Mother for sale, 25 cents. Brother for sale, he's not a big expense. You better start things off with the hardest working twins.
By 1992, millions of people still tuned in to catch the action inside a very full house, even after 6 years on the air. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen were there from the start, turning their adorable act into TV superstardom.
Yeah, it feels normal because that's all we know of.
They've been doing this since they've been, 7, 8 months old. And this is their life. They travel, they go to school, they know they have to get their work done on set, for school. And they try over 100% with everything they do.
These are all the books I read.
The success of the Olsens' first TV film, To Grandmother's House We Go, proved their fan base reached well beyond Full House.
Piece of cake.
In October 1992, Mary-Kate and Ashley branched out again, recording their first single, Brother for Sale.
Brother for sale, he's not a big expense. You can hug him, you can bug him, you could buy or rent. Brother for sale, 25 cents.
The Brother for Sale album eventually sold 325,000 copies. In May 1993, attorney Robert Thorne helped the Olsen family set up Dual Star Entertainment. 6-year-old Mary-Kate and Ashley were named founders and co-executive producers of the production company, making them the youngest moguls in Hollywood history.
These are fake teeth. Here, look. See?
People saw it more as, a marketing stunt, and, to a large degree it was a brilliant one at that, and that was, again, where you saw the grander scheme in action.
I'm Mary-Kate, and I'm Ashley. You gotta check out our new album. It's called I Am the Cute One.
Dual Star was a business decision, and we've controlled their schedule and the demands on them. That's what the business allowed us to do. As a result, they made their own decisions.
We knew it was our company, and we knew at that point that no is a full sentence, and if we didn't feel like doing something, we weren't forced to do it.
On the agenda, a series of books, more movies, and more music.
We're not the same, whatever you say. I love her, and she's okay, but I am the cute one. She's just my sister, you wish.
It was like a seed that just kind of grew and spread there in a lot of different mediums. As far as deciding on projects, I am the final decision maker. My whole goal has been to put a system in place that if I were not around, they could rely on and get accurate information, and everybody would be looking out for the best interests of the girls.
The cash rolled in. Profits from Dual Star were placed in a trust fund for the girls, along with their paychecks from Full House. Mary-Kate and Ashley weren't allowed to touch a dime until they turned 18.
We still go to school, and we still have to clean our rooms and get allowances. So we're still normal kids with that.
Mary-Kate said on the drive to work one morning, "How much money do you think we're making? We better be making $2 a week because we are working hard here. We're saying all our lines right." They were doing this movie. And Ashley turned to her and said, $2? Are you kidding? If we're not making $10, we shouldn't even be here.
Ready, and. Ready?
But Daddy, I'm the princess, and nobody would do what I told them.
Mary-Kate and Ashley continued to steal the show on Full House. The sisters also cranked out 2 more TV movies. First, Double Double Toil and Trouble.
I think you two better wait in the car with Norman. We won't be long.
How come we can't come?
Well, she doesn't like children.
She doesn't like children?
Next came How the West Was Fun.
So draw, unless you're a yeller.
We're not yeller.
Then draw.
We never draw first. You draw first.
No, you draw first.
No, you.
Then the girls really hit pay dirt. In 1994, Dual Star launched the straight-to-video series, The Adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley.
We got the know-how, we got the knack. Now all we need is a case to crack. We're two super duper snoopers. Give us a mystery.
Sales exploded. 10 Adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley videos were released over the next 4 years.
We were concerned about the fact that the girls were being overworked. We were concerned about the fact that they weren't getting kid time. We were concerned about the fact that they would go off for the week hiatus and be shooting a video.
Olsen and Olsen Mystery Agency will solve any crime by dinner time.
It did get to be very difficult for them. As their workload started to increase, they never really complained, but they were tired. I don't believe they ever said they didn't want to do this.
Still, Mary-Kate and Ashley were nothing if not well-trained.
They were trying to solve the mysteries, those mystery videos. But a fella had a briefcase, and they cut the scene, and they started up again, and Ashley said, "You had the briefcase, you got it in the wrong hand." And I'm going, wow.
In 1995, Dual Star produced a second series called You're Invited. The videos tapped into the untapped tween market. Girls 8 to 14 who were too old for toys, but too young for boys.
Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs.
It was a very canny move to step into this medium, video and records, at a time when there was a hunger for product for kids.
This is the thing about the Olsens, as successful, as rich as the Olsens are. It's the oddity of the twins that made them so successful.
By the 8th season of Full House, Mary-Kate and Ashley each earned a cool $150,000 per episode. But with salaries skyrocketing, network execs considered dumping the show.
Release the pig!
Like everyone, the cast and crew gathered around in our living room, or the set living room, and they're like, well, we don't know how much longer the show's going to go on.
And action.
ABC finally canceled the sitcom in February 1995 after 192 episodes. Full House was still a top 30 show.
No, stay down, Bob.
The show kind of got prematurely canceled, I thought. I mean, we went 8 great years, but the show was still high in the rate. I mean, nowadays, I never would have canceled Full House.
In the end, the reason Full House was canceled was that too much money was being spent, $1.3 million an episode, and so much money being spent on performers who'd been there for 8 years. So in the end, it was the doom of Full House.
Wait, Michelle, come here. Now, this may sound a little weird, but I want to put this to the test. What is my favorite comb?
Mr. Goodpart.
Bingo! All right, Michelle, what day do I always vacuum the stairs?
Every day.
That's right, and it was a trick question.
What's the capital of Nevada?
I don't know.
She never knew that. Her memory's bad. This is wonderful. Oh, man.
Is everybody nuts? What's going on?
Michelle, you fell off your horse and hit your head. And you couldn't remember who you were or any of us.
How could I forget you guys? You're my family.
You don't know how happy I am to hear you say that.
I remember, we didn't really understand what was happening, so we didn't really know it was like the last show until like people stood up and clapped and gave us flowers and everyone was crying. It was sad. We were devastated.
The farewell episode of Full House aired on May 23, 1995. For John Stamos, saying goodbye was bittersweet.
We'll never have another show like this. I mean, when you have so many people that... My agent told me I'll never have another show.
I just wanted to do more acting, and I wanted some of this stuff to be a little more organic and not about, poop jokes and just bring a pig on and we'll have, 5 laughs on that. Even to this day, it's been a double-edged sword for me,
Coming up, Saget struggles.
Everything that's, for me, went, just went kind of nutty.
And later,
I was in the house, different house, not a full house, the Surreal Life house.
by the time Full House ended its 8-year run in 1995, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen's net worth topped an estimated $10 million.
I think as we got older, we were given more responsibilities until we could really handle it.
It's one of those one-in-a-million stories where they took what they had and turned it into their own cottage industry. You go into stores and there's all things Mary-Kate and Ashley. It's really mind-boggling.
Little did they know that they were multimillionaires at that particular point. They were the youngest self-made millionaires in the history of the United States.
More than money, John Stamos wanted respect. He headed straight for Broadway, replacing Matthew Broderick in the hit musical How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
As soon as I left Full House, I said, I gotta try to legitimize myself as much as I can, and this opportunity for How to Succeed in Business came up. And I jumped at it, you know, and I had to go in and audition and sing and dance and, you know, do the whole thing, and I fought for the role, and, you know, and it was a life-changing experience.
Candace Cameron moved on too, with boyfriend Valerie Bure. A native of Russia, Bure played for the Montreal Canadiens.
I was ready to be able to spend more time with him. I saw him maybe once a month or once every 2 months.
The relationship quickly turned serious, while Candace took on a challenging new role.
Candace Cameron did it, and John Stamos did it, and I remember John Ritter did it. A lot of sitcom actors then go to make dark, deep movies, and Candace Cameron played in a movie when she was battered and abused by a character played by Fred Savage. So they all wanted to move, but they don't just move slightly. They all want to move into sort of a dark, dark, dark area.
No One Would Tell aired in May 1996. A month later, on June 22nd, the hockey jock and the actress became husband and wife. Candace was 20, Valerie 22.
I've been surrounded by good, strong marriages starting at a young age, so I wasn't afraid of it.
The bride also embarked on a spiritual journey. Taking a cue from her brother Kirk, Candace embraced religion.
I started going to church when I was 12 years old, but my faith has just completely taken a change for the better, and God is the first, you know, thing in my life. My faith was not the forefront of my life growing up, but as I've gotten older and seen my wicked ways, I'm just changing them.
Bob Saget also did some soul searching.
I was doing Full House. Lori Loughlin said to me one day, "You want to direct? Why don't you make a movie for your sister?" And I went, "God, it's so personal. That would like rip me apart." And she said, "No, you should do it."
Saget decided to go for it, directing Dana Delaney in For Hope. The movie dramatized Sister Gay's battle and eventual death from scleroderma.
I think the hardest scene for him was the death scene, and he knew it would be. There was a lot of weeping going on behind the camera.
More change was on the way. In June 1997, Saget left America's Funniest Home Videos after 8 years.
I did as many crotch jokes as I could. The last few years, I tried to interject more of that irreverence, but that's when the parting of ways, it was time to end that for sure.
Then in September, Saget said goodbye again, this time to his wife of 16 years. Sherry filed for divorce. The split became final in 1998.
Our marriage started to dissolve the last 5 years when my sister died, and then our baby got born. Everything just, for me, went, you know, just went kind of nutty. And she did the best she could with who she is, and we can all assume I didn't do the best I could. Because, you know, I'm the guy, and I'm in show business, you know. And you've seen the video show. You would leave me, right?
People in our business who have one show can destroy family lives. Having 2 shows has got to be just unbelievable, and I think eventually his wife just felt that he wasn't giving enough time.
Lori Loughlin experienced some personal changes too. In 1996, she divorced her husband of 7 years and married fashion designer Massimo a year later. In the summer of 1998, a blessed event reunited Lori with Full House castmate Candace Cameron.
Candace and Lori actually got pregnant with their first children at the same time. They were 11 years apart. Lori very much played the mother figure for Candace while they were on the show.
It's certainly challenging being a working mom, but I'm fortunate to be doing something that I want to be doing and that I love to do. And I think in many ways, because I'm fulfilled, then it makes me a better parent.
Meanwhile, 17-year-old Jodie Sweetin still struggled to adjust 3 years after Full House ended its run.
The show ending was probably toughest on Jodie Sweetin. She had to go back to normal life when she wasn't the star of a sitcom.
It's that tough age where you can start to hire an 18-year-old to play the 13-year-old. So I think it was more of a struggle for her. She wanted to keep going, and I just don't think there was as much available for her.
On September 19th, 1998, John Stamos married girlfriend Rebecca Romaine after nearly 4 years together. The entire cast of Full House attended the lavish wedding in Beverly Hills, California.
They're playing this beautiful music, and everybody walks up to the altar, and John and Rebecca are standing there, and this airplane buzzes over, and it makes this really loud kind of a sound. And John, during the middle of his vows, looks back in front of everybody, about 500 people, and says, "Hey, was that cool, yay?" And it was a proud moment for me.
When they got together, they were this glamour couple. They were gorgeous. People loved to find out what they were doing, what they looked like. He had really established himself as Uncle Jesse, and she was at the time just a model. He really helped her become the Rebecca Romaine Stamos that we know today. Her career skyrocketed after meeting John Stamos.
Rebecca went on to star in films, including X-Men and Femme Fatale. In 2001, Dave Coulier formed his own multimedia company, Wide Eyes Entertainment, to produce books and videos for children. Thanks to Full House, Dave still had plenty of young fans.
In real life, Coulier just loved kids and did a lot of cartoon things, did a lot of voices.
I just don't think about being pigeonholed or being stereotyped or typecast or anything. I've never thought about that, so I don't know if that's to my advantage, but I've just kept working and keep really busy with other projects, and Full House happened to be just one of those projects.
Bob Saget did think about being typecast. He found it hard to distance himself from his Full House character, Danny Tanner. In 2001, the comedian was cast in a new sitcom for the WB called Raising Dad. This time, Saget played a widower raising 2 daughters. The show got the axe after 1 season.
That's embarrassing, isn't it?
It's very hard to get away from your image when you not only have a successful series that runs for 8 years, but you have a successful series that runs for 8 years and then runs every single day of your life on television.
John Stamos kept looking for his next big hit, too. That same year, he produced and starred in a series for ABC called Thieves. John played a thief turned FBI informant.
So I'm, involved with everything, the look, especially the show. I want the show to have style, and, like I said, really kind of be different. If you're flipping the channels, I think people are going to stop and go, what is this? Because it feels different and fresh.
All right, let's just keep our heads here, and I mean that literally because I very much like to keep mine.
Thieves only lasted 8 episodes.
Nobody knows what makes us so successful, or we would have more successful shows. I think magic has to happen. I think the stars have to all line up, and everything has to be perfect, and you have to be really, really lucky.
Jodie Sweetin made her own magic at Chapman University in Southern California. Sweetin met the man of her dreams, fellow student Sean Holguin. The couple married in July 2002.
Candace was Jodie's matron of honor, and Candace's little daughter was her flower girl. It was all sort of a Full House reunion, all in the family.
Coming up, trouble at home.
At that time, you don't really realize kind of what's going on, but we knew, it wasn't our fault.
After the final taping of Full House in February 1995, the careers of 8-year-old twins Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen really took off.
Mary-Kate and Ashley's manager, parents, lawyers are very, very, very smart. They made a movie, It Takes Two, and it grossed $19 million. But in video, it grossed $75 million, which is how they realized this is our market. The Mary-Kate and Ashley market is straight to video.
When did they go from being like big TV stars to huge TV stars, and now they're like huge moguls?
But the sisters didn't get big heads or big allowances.
Mary-Kate and Ashley were making millions upon millions of dollars with all their various ventures, but their parents, wanting them to be just regular, normal kids, were still just paying them $10 a week.
It was $7 a week, but if you miss one day and if there's one thing on the floor, you don't get anything for the whole week.
Mary-Kate and Ashley have a very good upbringing. I think their mom and their dad have been a really stable force in their life.
Still, Dave and Jarni Olsen couldn't keep their marriage from crumbling. The couple divorced in July 1995.
It was difficult, sure, at first, but Jarni and myself, our concern really is the children. It's worked out as well as we expected.
Mary-Kate and Ashley did their best to keep things in perspective.
Actually, I think we handle it very mature. We're like, you know, if they're apart and we want to support our parents. But at that time, you know, you don't really realize kind of what's going on, but we knew, you know, it wasn't our fault. You know. And we also had our brother and our sister, and so I think we were all there for each other.
In 1998, Mary-Kate and Ashley returned to network television in a new sitcom titled Two of a Kind. But lightning didn't strike again. The series was canceled after one season.
We kind of expected it, I think. For us, you know, we were very young and we had a good time doing it, but we were used to that. We were used to doing something for a little while and moving on and trying something else. We never felt like that was the end.
Fast forward to February 2001. The Olsens expanded their grip on the tween market, cutting a deal for a clothing line with the world's biggest retailer.
We'd get all these fan mails or just people calling or asking, you know, where do we get our clothes? The truth was that we were taking designer adult clothes and cutting down to our size because there was nothing really that we could find that was cool or like had, you know, its own sort of style. And so we were like, hey, start a clothing line one of these days. So we, you know, got paired up with Walmart and we just kind of put together some designs.
The Mary-Kate and Ashley brand included a bunch of products.
Real fashion for real girls.
They have the clothing line. They have a cosmetics line. They have bedding. They have furniture. They have toddler clothes, playing back to their original image.
The Mary-Kate and Ashley line gives girls control over the products that they have in their lives. When Mary-Kate and Ashley approve something, that says to the consumer that this is cool, and it's not a mom-approved thing. It's a Mary-Kate and Ashley approved item.
Sales boomed.
By our estimates, the first year, the brand brought in about $300 million through the Walmart channel. Second year estimates are closer to $500 or $600 million. We think it could get close to $1.5 billion and probably won't stop there.
Mary-Kate and Ashley participate in the decisions of their movies, their clothing, their designs. These are very, very savvy, smart girls.
You can't argue with the kind of success that they've had. The numbers speak for themselves.
In June 2001, the Olsens launched another sitcom, So Little Time. But after one season, the girls had enough.
This was the dumbest, most ridiculous, most stupid thing we've ever done. It's not our fault.
I blame the media. It was a lot of fun, but at the same time, it was a lot of work and producing it and making sure that everything was right. It was the, you know, third, you know, series we'd done, and when you're on a series, it's kind of the same thing every day. And yeah, it was like the beginning of high school, and I think we wanted to have more time at school.
Good morning.
So Little Time was only on for one season, but Mary-Kate got nominated for Emmy for her role on that. Ashley, however, was shut out. Perhaps that might have created a little bit of sibling rivalry there, but These kids are best friends, and even one nomination and one snub couldn't break these girls apart.
There's no reason I should be nominated, not her. No reason at all. So it's weird, but you know, but I'm so excited for her, and this is just exciting for both of us.
It's kind of replaying what happened when they were babies, which is that Ashley was really shy and didn't really like to go on the set. Mary-Kate was all out there and shot all the scenes.
You got it, dude.
So I think that Mary-Kate is definitely the outgoing one, or at least outgoing in front of the camera.
Mary-Kate didn't win the Daytime Emmy, but both sisters were honored in a special issue of The Hollywood Reporter, an industry trade magazine. The October 2001 edition hailed Mary-Kate and Ashley as the most powerful young women in Hollywood.
When the Reporter does a special issue, people judge it by the heft with which it lands on your desk when you thump it down, and that issue was like a telephone book. When you actually opened up the issue and felt the heft of it, you couldn't help but be impressed by the scope of what these girls had created and the support behind them, which comes through in terms of the people who took ads, you know, supporting them and congratulating them.
It was an honor to be called, you know, powerful, especially from the Hollywood Reporter. But for us, we don't really think of it that way. I mean, we just think of it as, you know, power to us means you have control over the things that we do, and you know, we've had control over the things that we've done and produced and made since we were 6 years old. So it was nice that it was acknowledged.
Coming up, where are they now?
Why do I have a strong feeling that we're going to be a headline tomorrow?
Full House closed its doors in 1995, and the cast got on with their lives. There were career hits and misses, but what Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen built was nothing short of phenomenal. Books, videos, clothes, and other products translated into billions of dollars. In May 2004, the 17-year-old tycoons headlined their first feature film, a romantic comedy called New York Minute.
And action! Not one there.
This is amazing. We could relate to the script. We saw a lot of potential to add certain things like comedy and action, loving moments.
New York Minute was supposed to be their big breakout hit. It was one of the first times that they weren't playing themselves in a movie, but it failed at the box office. It made barely $6 million in the first week.
New York Minute was also hammered by critics. Then, more bad news. Rumors surfaced that Mary-Kate had an eating disorder.
It was clear that that was really the main problem there. You know, she had lost a lot of weight.
Initially, reps denied the reports. Mary-Kate and Ashley confronted their critics head-on.
They hosted SNL. They made fun of themselves. And if they can still make fun of themselves, they can survive.
However, there was nothing funny about Mary-Kate's condition. The Olsen family intervened. In June 2004, Mary-Kate was admitted to the Cirque Lodge in Sundance, Utah.
When she went into rehab, it was really hard for the girls. They spoke almost every day. They wrote letters to each other. Ashley tried to visit Mary-Kate as much as possible, but it really was the first time these girls had spent any significant amount of time apart.
According to published reports, Mary-Kate completed 6 weeks of inpatient treatment for an eating disorder. She returned to Manhattan, and that fall, Mary-Kate and Ashley enrolled at New York University. The Olsens' digs? A lavish $7.3 million apartment.
They're billionaires. They don't have to go to college. They could sit out here and go to parties with Paris Hilton. What a waste of their life.
For them to be able to go off to college and pursue other interests and still be successful, man, who wouldn't want to do that?
Wow, you look fantastic.
In summer 2004, Lori Loughlin returned to network television and produced a series for the WB.
I came up with this idea for Summerland, which we're now currently in production on, and I pitched it to them, and they liked it, and they sent me over to Aaron Spelling, and so
you know, here we are. We need to talk.
Can't we do this later?
No, Braden, grades like this are really serious and on top of everything that's happened.
All right, but now?
Don't try to deflect the issue by making this about my timing. We need to talk about what we're going to do to bring your grades up.
You know what? This is so you. I finally make something good happen, and you do this?
She started as a woman who was raising a couple kids after her sister had died. It was somewhat ironic considering that Full House had been based on a guy raising a family after his wife had died.
I think that Lori's show is great. She took some time out to start a family, but she's so wonderful. She's so talented. I'm not surprised at all that she has a hit show that's slightly reminiscent of Full House in some ways.
Dave Coulier made his TV comeback on the quirky reality show, The Surreal Life, in September 2004.
I was in the house, different house, not a Full House, the Surreal Life house, with Flavor Flav from Public Enemy, Bridget Nielsen, Ryan Starr from American Idol, Charo, and Jordan Knight from New Kids on the Block.
So I bring my bed into here the first night because I can't take it, because Flav snores like the Tasmanian devil. It's like,
The Surreal Life was the weirdest thing I've ever done. I've never looked so normal in my entire life.
Did you hear those noises?
oh, that's the camera. It's adjusting its
And then
aperture.
I said, oh my God, everybody gonna see my I was so
Dave used the exposure to inject new life into his career.
I'm hosting a series now called America's Most Talented Kids on PAX. I was on a show on ABC Family called My Life as a Sitcom. I've done television pilots.
Coulier's doing tons of stuff. He tells me that he's like selling out colleges all over the country doing stand-up.
John Stamos wasn't so lucky. John and his wife, Rebecca Romaine Stamos, filed for divorce in 2004 after 5 years of marriage.
John and Rebecca were living on different coasts. He was living in New York working on Broadway. She was in LA trying to be a movie star, and they really just didn't spend a lot of time together.
John focused on getting his TV career back on track. In 2005, Stamos produced and starred in a comedy drama series, Jake in Progress.
Are you seeing anyone?
Well, I have a date tonight, and her name is Allison.
Well, you tell that girl she better be nice to you, because we have a daughter waiting in the wings.
He plays a slick Hollywood PR guy in his new series, but he's always having problems with women. And of course, that's what's happening in his life, too, so it's perfect.
John's due to find the right fit for him, and this could be a whole new chapter in his career.
Bob Saget returned to his first love, the comedy circuit.
I'm doing stand-up because I did so much family TV that I just have to curse now.
Bob Saget still appears every weekend, as far as I know, at the Laugh Factory. And like Jerry Seinfeld, he's one of the world's richest struggling stand-up comedians.
He's also developing a project with Damon Wayans about a divorced dad who takes care of his kids, which is kind of in the Full House vein, but that's okay. He's good in the Full House vein.
The little girls of Full House grew up, but children continue to play a big role in the lives of Candace Cameron and Jodie Sweetin.
Candace is a mom, you know. She's got 3 kids, and she's got a great husband, and they're a family. They've just blossomed into this great couple and great parents, and, you know, they just love it.
23-year-old Jodie followed in the footsteps of her on-set mentor.
She's expressed an interest to go back and take the additional classes and become a studio teacher, which is such a compliment to me and the teachers that worked with her on the show.
Oh, Jodie is so sweet. She's great with kids. She would make a fabulous teacher.
Who better to teach kids how to handle success and the ups and downs of a career than somebody who'd already done it?
In January 2005, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen broke ties with Dual Star Entertainment CEO Robert Thorne. The Olsens bought out their longtime business partner's stake in the company. At 18, the college freshman assumed full control of their billion-dollar empire.
They have their name on 50-some different kinds of products. You know, they're huge stars in their own right. You think about it, they started as 9 months old playing Michelle Tanner. People fell in love with Mary-Kate and Ashley. They wanted to know all about them. They have clothing lines, they have books, they have videos, they have songs. These girls have made billions and billions of dollars being themselves.
A month later, Ashley Olsen sued the National Enquirer over a cover story alleging the teen queen was involved in a drug scandal. Olsen's lawsuit claims invasion of privacy and libel. She is seeking $40 million in damages. The National Enquirer stands by its story. From 1987 to 1995, the Full House family entertained millions of American families. Today, the show lives on in syndication with a worldwide audience.
Kids really have no idea that the show's not in production anymore. It's on 100 times a day. If you want to see me on TV, just turn on your TV. It's always on.
It just keeps spawning on new generations of fans, and I get email from kids that are just discovering the show now. And so, it's a show that just struck a chord with people.
For fans, one question lingers. Will the Tanner household ever get back together?
I would do the Full House reunion in a heartbeat. I had such a great time. I loved it.
The cast of Full House and myself, I mean, we have private reunions all the time, and it's so much fun. It would be great to share that with everyone.
I don't think there will be a Full House reunion for a long, long time because, not everybody wants to be associated with it. Me, I don't care. I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Until then, there's a new Full House fan born every minute.
The first time my kids ever watched Full House, and it was just a fluke. I was channel surfing, and my 5-year-old was playing something, and all of a sudden I stopped. There was an episode of Full House, and Michelle came on, and my 5-year-old just stopped what she was doing and was absolutely riveted.